I am beginning my mask by rolling a smooth sphere. I'm essentially going to be making a pinch pot. So I'm making sure the sphere is nice and smooth. I'm adding water, a little bit of water to it, slightly, just to make sure it's, again, very smooth. And once I'm ready, I'm going to press my thumb into it about halfway through. And I'm going to pinch around that hole to make the sides thinner. The goal is to get this about the size of your finger. We want these to dry quickly, so we don't want them to be too thick. And now I'm just kind of perfecting that and smoothing it out. Now it's time to add my face details. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a skewer or a pencil or a sharper tool, and I'm going to remember facial proportions, which we talked a lot about in the last project. So you can see me drawing a line down the center both ways so that I know where to place my eyes. The eyes should be about in the center of that oval. And then I'm just using the skewer tool to kind of sketch it out. You're eventually either going to be adding your clay details on top of your sketch or carving it out. You're not just going to leave it drawn in. You can either sculpt it on, make it raised using additive techniques, or you can take the clay away and basically reveal little holes for the eyes, mouth, and so on. Now that I have it sketched out, focusing on those extreme emotions and those directions of the different lines in the eyebrows and the face, the different shapes. Now I'm taking some extra clay. I'm making sure the clay is nice and moist, and I'm going ahead and I'm shaping it and attaching it to my clay piece. You can see me, this is a very important step. You can see me here really taking my clay. Both pieces are moist, and I'm smudging it into the face so that it sticks. If you do not smudge it into the face, it is not going to stay attached. You really want to make sure the clay pieces are completely joined. Now I'm going ahead and I'm at this stage still figuring out how I want to create the eyes. So you can see I'm using that subtractive technique, and I'm going in with my skewer to really sketch in those different directions of the lines to make sure this expression is very exaggerated. Here I'm taking more clay. I'm rolling little pieces for eyelids because in my angry sketch on the top left, the eyes are closed. So I'm basically taking a piece and flattening it and creating little eyelids for the eyes to make it look like they're closed. So I used both additive and subtractive for the eyes in this step. Okay, now once I've figured that out, I'm taking my skewer and, really important, I am really smudging it on so that the clay is completely connected. Again, you don't want your clay to just be sitting on top. You want it to be wet and really smudged in so that it sticks. So make sure you take time to do that. And I'm adding a little bit more water with my paintbrush to really smooth it out. Now I'm continuing on doing the eyebrows again, making sure I'm keeping with that extreme direction of the eyebrows and all the different shapes that I need. Smoothing it out, as always. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is really important so that your clay sticks together. And lastly, I am creating the mouth, and I use the subtractive method for that. So I basically poked a hole through. And the very, very last thing I'm doing here is I'm taking my brush and my clay tools and just smoothing out any imperfections that I have as I complete this part. After you do this, you're gonna carve your name into the back. And again, just taking that time to kind of perfect it as best as I can. Okay, and now I want to show you just how these subtle changes in the shapes and directions of the eyebrows can really transform and evolve the different emotions. So again, these are very subtle movements that I'm pushing the clay around, and the emotion really changes. It goes from maybe being frustrated to surprised and then eventually sad. So you're going to be observing the different shapes that you've sketched out, and you're going to make sure that your clay is really securely attached to itself. You're using moist clay and you're smudging it to make sure that it's attached.